Hey guys, what is up? My name is Meaghan and welcome back to Book Talk with Meg. Welcome to this September haul. I know I haven't posted a haul in a really long time. I still need to create my summer haul, but that one's going to take a little bit longer, so that one is still in the works. So in the meantime, I decided to film my September haul because a lot of great book releases came out and just a lot of book sales were happening, so I did splurge and buy a couple of books, which I'll talk to you guys about. So without further ado, let's hop on in. There is a great variety. Young adult fantasy, young adult contemporary, some adult romance. We're in here for variety, apparently. The first book I see on my stack is one I read during my second 24-hour readathon, and that is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. This is a book about two young children who work in a pumpkin patch every year together, and this year is their last because they are seniors in high school and they will be moving on to college and bigger and better things. So we follow them on their last night working the pumpkin patch together. We follow their relationship, their friendship, and just everything in between. This is very fallish, and that's pretty much the story. The graphics in here, just letting you guys know, are absolutely phenomenal, and if you guys are looking for a fall graphic novel, would recommend. Another kind of fall spooky book I have is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. I meant to read this for the Books and Dragon Tea book club. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically what Mel to the Any hosts. And I sadly didn't get around to it, but I still want to read this in the October months. This one follows a girl who brings back her best friend from the dead, but accidentally brings back other girls as well, and I believe they form the Undead Girl Gang. And some spooky witchy things happen in here. I don't want to spoil myself, but a lot of people really love it, and I've heard that there is great oversized body rep. I watched Zoe from Zoe Reads video and she did mention this book and how she appreciated the rep in here, which made me want to pick it up even more. I also got Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly, which is a Cinderella retelling, but we follow the main character Isabel, which was a Cinderella's stepsister, and we follow her life and what it is to be Cinderella's stepsister, how she compares to her life and her journey. So basically we're in the head of someone we were supposed to hate, but I guess we learned to love in this book. I know a lot of my subscribers, when I mentioned that I wanted to get this book, said it was very good, so I'm very excited to read this. I really love any fairy tale retellings that I'm already familiar with, Cinderella obviously being one that I adore, so super pumped for this one. I got a more hard-hitting YA contemporary. Sorry these are all out of order, but it's basically just a stack of books at this point, and that is Girls on the Verge by Sharon Biggs Whaler, and this is a story about a girl who wants to get an abortion, but it is illegal where she lives, therefore she wants to go on a road trip, and she asks her best friend to go with her, but her best friend I believe is pro-life, and so she kind of declines at first, and then our main character asks another girl who she looks up to, who decides to go with her. Her best friend has a change of heart, and it's basically them going on a road trip and the talk of abortion, which is super relevant with what is happening right now, believed to be very hard-hitting. I know Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads has mentioned this book a couple of times, and it's really made me want to read it, and I think I need to read this because it's so relevant, and I think a lot of people should, and it's just such an important topic. We then have a very exciting poetry collection, and that is The Truth About Magic by Atticus, which I didn't even know was releasing in September, which is kind of upsetting because I'm such a big Atticus fan. This is his third installment in his poetry collection, I guess, and I love Atticus with all my heart. Atticus, R.H. Sin, and Bo Taplin are like my OG favorite poets, and so having this collection and having the chance to like sip on some tea, eat some fruit, and annotate the crap out of this makes me very happy. I connect to his poetry like on another level, so I think this will be a great fall read. So happy to have purchased this. We then have a super hyped book that released in September, and that is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I don't really know how to say that author's last name. I am so sorry. And also sorry if I'm blinding you with this. This is a story that is set in the past, I believe, and I feel like it's in like Paris or something like that, somewhere in Europe, and it follows a witch and a witch hunter, and they get into this marriage, and I don't really know how that happens, because why would a witch and a witch hunter get married? And I think it's an enemies to lover, and that's going to have like complicated politics, and everybody has been giving it 5 stars and raving about it and just loving this book so much, wanting to reread it already. So I'm very curious to see how I feel about it. It is a pretty hefty fantasy. I'm not a big fantasy reader, but I wanted to give this one a chance because, again, it kind of feels very fallish, and if so many people love it, hopefully I can love it too. A fantasy sequel, which I'm super excited to finally have, is Steel Tide by Natalie C. Parker, which is the sequel to Seafire, and I need your help because I completely forgot the key elements in Seafire because I read it so long ago and I don't really want to reread the entire book. So if you guys know of any videos that have a like recap or blog posts, anything that can help me, preferably with spoilers, please leave them down below because I really want to get to this, but I don't want to read this if I remember nothing of the first book. See how that's a problem? Anyways, this is a pirate story with an all-female cast. Absolutely adored the first book, so I got the second book. I then got another pretty popular release, and that is American Royals by Catherine McGee, who is the author of The 1,000th Floor and like that series. This one follows a plot line where instead of having presidents, what if like George Washington was the first king of the United States, and so it follows kind of like his descendants, and everybody says this is so romance heavy and amazing. A lot of people were talking about this book during Contemporary-a-thon, and it made me so excited to have this because I love romance heavy things. There's a lot of apparently like love triangles, and it follows a lot of different character perspectives. This is apparently also the first book in a series. I just love high drama romance novels, and this is apparently what this is, so I'm very excited. I don't know a lot about this. I know it follows multiple point of views, that it's very romance heavy, and it's the descendants of a king. What else do you want? Another book I bought because of Zoe Reads, and that specific reading only books with like fat rep in for a month, which I'll link down below. I'm guessing a lot of you guys have seen this because a lot of people have talked about this in the booktube community, but she talked about There's Something About Sweetie by Sandy Meaghan, who is the author of When Dimple Met Rishi, and she talked about this and it really made me want to read it because it seems like her main character is very different. I believe she's like part of a track team, like she's a track athlete, and I used to do track, so this is like super interesting for me. I loved doing it when I was like beginning of high school, so to see a character be overweight and be so in charge of her body and her health and just presenting the message that it's okay to be overweight because you can still be healthy, I'm all for that. So I did want to give this book a chance, and I really trust Zoe's opinion, so I decided to get it. Another book I read during my 24-hour readathon is Tunnel of Bones, which is the sequel to City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, her middle grade series. This one is the sequel, so I won't talk about that, but if you guys don't know what City of Ghosts is about, it follows a main character called Cassidy Blake, who has died-ish, but was brought back from the dead, and so she can now go through this thing called a veil, and she can see the in-between, and she can see ghosts. Her best friend is actually a ghost, and we follow her story as well as her parents, because her parents have this show about ghosts. They don't actually have Cassidy's talents, but we follow them as they film in different locations. City of Ghosts is in Edinburgh, and Tunnel of Bones is in Paris, and it's just following her adventures, her and her ghost friend, and it's spooky, but not too spooky, so I can read it, you know, and I just adore these books so much. If you want to see my full thoughts on this, I will link my 24-hour readathon in the cards. I then have another YA contemporary, and that is Call It What You Want by Bridget Kimmerer, which I don't know a lot about. I know I love Bridget Kemmerer ever since A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Obviously that one's fantasy, this is contemporary, but still, this looks like a very hard-hitting YA contemporary. A lot of people who I trust on Instagram have read and given this book very high reviews. I don't really want to spoil myself for the plot, but it looks like it might be very upsetting, so I think I might need to be in a mindset where I want to feel sad. But that's about all I know. I know the cover is stunning, I love the author and her writing style, so I can't wait to dive into this one. We're on to the last few, you guys. Let's not give up. I have 2 adult romances, the first one being Well Met by Jen DeLuca, which has taken booktube romance by storm. This one follows a main character who has gone through a recent breakup and who was contacted by her sister who was in an accident and needs help kind of doing her daily things, so our character decides to move in with her sister to take care of her sister as well as her niece. Her niece wants to enter to volunteer in a Renaissance fair, but she can't because she's underage, so I believe our main character goes with her. She meets this English professor who works at the Renaissance fair, and they kind of clash when not in costume, but when in costume they have like off the charts chemistry, and I believe it's a hate to love romance. And because Chapters was having a buy one get one 50% off sale, I also decided to get Bring Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is a historical romance set in 1879. I don't know much about it, but a lot of people said it was fantastic. It's kind of like a feminist romance novel, and I just feel like I'm really gonna love it, and I love the cover, and just when I read the synopsis when I was going to purchase this book, I know it sounded really amazing to me, so I have it now. We also have The Brightsiders by Jen Wilde, which I got because I read Queens of Geek by her and I loved it, but also because I'm in a place right now as a reader where I am looking for more musical romances, novels, that's how I call them. Books like When It's Real by Aaron Watt, Breathe by Abby Glines, just those books that have like one person who is in the music industry that falls in love with like a commoner, I guess, like a regular person, like Ali Novak books like Paper Hearts and Heartstoppers, like all these books I love, and this kind of follows that premise as well, so I got it. I love Jen Wilde's writing. She also has a lot of diversity and mental health rep in her books, so can't wait to read this one. We are down to the final 2. The next book being for a secret video I'm working on, and that is The Royal We by Heather Cox and Jessica Morgan. This is a book that follows the royals, which, if you guys haven't noticed, I am in love with anything royal ever since I read Red, White, and Royal Blue, as well as, what's the name of the other book? This one is another royal story, but I don't really want to talk about the premise or why I picked this one up because it kind of would spoil the video. So just know I purchased this book and it's a lot thicker than I thought it would be. Like, this is a pretty big book. And the last book, which saved the best for last, is Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. I can't believe I finally have this in my hands. I also ordered the Fake Crate box with like just the merch in it, which I will be unboxing on my channel once I get it. It should be shipping soon. But this is the final installment in my favorite series of all time, which is Stalking Jack the Ripper. And I have a lot of videos on Stalking Jack the Ripper, which I'll link in the down bar in the cards if you guys want to know more about it. But my little baby, I've been waiting so long for this book. This book is a mood. It's gorgeous, it's shimmery, and it's kind of gold, and love that for me. So that's it for my book haul. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you very soon with another video. You guys let me know what books you read in September or that you purchased that you loved or are very excited to read. Bye guys!